Like in Mexico and even the United States, the worlds of music and politics also collided in Brazil this year. After being officially extinct for 10 years, the government censorship returned to threaten the music scene. At the start of the year, the rap group Planet Hemp released a video for the song Legalize Já, calling for the legalization of marijuana. The video was prohibited from being shown before 11 p.m., something that had never happened to any other music videos in Brazil, and which also affected the band's chances at the first Brazilian Video Music Awards.
Acho que o nosso vídeo foi muito prejudicado. A gente podia até ter um desempenho melhor nesse VMA, mas pelo fato de ter sido censurado e só poder passar depois das 11h15, muita gente não viu o nosso vídeo e eu acho que isso prejudicou bastante.
But this wasn't the only problem with censorship this year. Paralamas do Sucesso, one of Brazil's biggest bands, were about to take the stage at a concert in Brasília, the nation's capital, when the federal police arrived and threatened to arrest them if they performed a song in which they called members of the Brazilian Congress embezzlers.
O fato de você ver chegando no camarim policiais com mandato de segurança, isso tudo tem um sabor à repressão em anos 60 e que é bastante desconfortável e a gente não se sentiu bem com isso.
The result of all this confusion, however, was positive. The album with the controversial song went on to sell more than 500,000 copies.
The view from south of the border.
Back here in the U.S., keeping track of current events this year was like opening a Pandora's box. Each time there was a treaty, a march, or a verdict in the news signaling resolution. It was only a matter of time until a bombing, an assassination, or an outbreak of fighting caused more unrest, as you're about to see.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder.
As history's most watched television event came to a shockingly sudden close, most expected a door to be slammed shut on the brutal saga of Nicole Brown Simpson, Ron Goldman, and O.J., because finally it was all over. Instead, a Pandora's box of heightened racial tension opened.
It gets me mad. I can't even explain how mad I am about it.
I'm thrilled. I can't believe it. It's like an emotional relief.
Many blacks saw a man persecuted because of his race. Many whites saw a man set free for the very same reason. Racial politics aside, to some, the case said a lot about what it means to have money.
If you are wealthy enough, you can hang in there and you will certainly be spared of the chair and perhaps you'll be found not guilty.
White America and women were left out of the Million Man March in Washington, D.C., where hundreds of thousands of black men met peacefully to atone for wrongs in the black community and promote self-reliance.
We pray as black men, give us strength to put down our guns and to pick up our babies.
We, as black people, have to take our own responsibility. So we can't just sit around and wait for the government to pull us up.
The organizer of the march, however, was hate-monger and Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, and many in America had a hard time separating message from messenger.
Everybody here is not for Minister Farrakhan, but some people are, but we are here for one thing, and that's to move the black race forward.
Black families currently earn on average 40% less than white families, and college enrollment for blacks is declining. Affirmative action programs designed to correct some of these disparities took it on the chin in '95.
What we should have is an admissions procedure that is fair, that does not engage in the kind of artificial preferences that we have seen under the affirmative action program.
Affirmative action programs were abolished in California, the Pentagon suspended one of its programs, and the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against an affirmative action program in Colorado.
We need something like this so that we can at least get our foot in the door, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to make it.
I'm going to work hard, and if I can't get it with my own merits, then maybe I don't deserve it.
After years of working hard for peace, Israelis and Palestinians began the road to Palestinian self-rule this year, but then a 25-year-old Israeli law student gunned down Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in response to the impending Palestinian freedoms.
What has kept you from being disillusioned with the peace process? Because there are continued acts of violence.
I'm not fighting for the sake of war. I am fighting to achieve peace in the land of peace, in the Terra Santa, in the Holy Land. This is something valuable, worth what we are suffering.
Acts of violence cropped up even in the most unlikely places, America's heartland and normally crime-free Tokyo. Although not violent, Congress battled mightily over the budget.
You are the generation that is going to pay the highest share of your income on interest on the federal debt.
To lower that debt, Congress voted to cut student loans. In a remarkable display of democracy in action, student protests around the country caused Congress to lessen the severity of the cuts. Still concerned over the ever-multiplying debt young people face in the future, Congress also voted to trim just about every program and agency in the government, butting heads with the White House at every turn. As usual, both sides said they were only doing what's best for America.
What I'm trying to do here every day, and with the economy, with saving the college loan program, with trying to preserve the environment, is to give the young people of our country a good country to grow up into.
One final note, despite praise from business leaders, the youth-oriented AmeriCorps National Service Program was also on the chopping block at year's end. However, President Clinton has vowed to veto any legislation that dissolves what he calls one of the cornerstones of his administration. We shall see.
Back in the world of music, the diminutive rapper, producer, and businessman who called himself Eazy-E was a pioneer of the straight-outta Compton and in-your-face style called gangster rap. And when he suddenly succumbed to AIDS this year, his death sent a message that even the hardest-boiled hip-hoppers could no longer ignore. Here's an easy look back from the beginning.
Won't you tell them what your name is? My name is Eazy, yeah, this is true.
Born Eric Wright in Compton, California in 1963, Eazy-E grew up to become a gangster rap pioneer. In the late 80s, he recruited 4 friends, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, DJ Yella, and MC Ren, to form NWA, or Niggas with Attitude. At the same time, Eazy started his own label, Ruthless Records, which according to legend, he financed with money he made dealing drugs. In 1988, Eazy released the 2 records that launched his career. Eazy Does It, the first of his 2 multi-million-selling solo albums, and with NWA, the epical Straight Outta Compton.
Eazy is his name, and the boys coming straight out of Compton. It's a brother that'll smother your mother and make your sister think I love her.
NWA put West Coast rap on the map in a major way and also launched a whole new style called gangster rap.
I never intended to rap in my life, you know. I just started the record company. I had a little money, I started the record company, and ended up rapping about stuff that I've been through.
NWA rapped about sex, gangs, and police harassment in raw, street-level language. The group's most notorious track, F the Police, drew the unfriendly attention of the FBI, but it reflected a widespread resentment of the LAPD, a boiling anger that later helped fuel the Los Angeles riots of 1992.
Without a gun and a badge, what do you got? A sucker in a uniform waiting to get shot.
NWA eventually fell apart amid traditional record biz spats over contracts and money, with first Ice Cube and then Dr. Dre bailing out of the group in disgust. The various ex-members traded vicious insults on their solo albums.
Thought I was sleazy, I thought I was a mark, cause I used to hang with Eazy. All of a sudden, Dr. Dre is the G thing, but on his own album covers he was a she thing.
The feuds eventually faded, though, and in the end, Eazy and his one-time pals were actually on the verge of regrouping.
We talked on the phone a few times and this and that, and it was all good, you know. He made his money, I made my money, and that was that. Eventually, we were definitely going to put together the NWA reunion album.
The reunion never happened, though. On March 16th, startled fans learned that Eazy-E had contracted AIDS and was on life support in an LA hospital very near death. His last words were read by a lawyer to a crowd of friends, including DJ Yella.
I would like to turn my own problem into something good that will reach out to all my homeboys and their kin, because I want to save their asses before it's too late.
It was unbelievable, because I had just seen him out here in New York at a club, and we talked for like 2 hours, and you know, just basically having a good time, you know, and I think it was a reason for that, you know, for us to sit down and have this last talk. So, I mean, to this day, it's still unbelievable.
On March 26th, thousands of mourners gathered to say goodbye to Eazy-E. His death from AIDS at the age of 31 sent out a powerful message.
It happened to somebody from the hood, you know, so it's like, it happened to him, I know it can happen to me, you know what I'm saying? That grabbed a lot of people.
Although it's still not known how Eazy contracted AIDS, he had boasted on his records of all sorts of sexual encounters, even though he was also well aware of the dangers.
Catching a disease is the worst thing about sex.
Yeah, that's the worst thing.
That's if you don't wear a condom.
So wear a condom.
Wear a condom.
Word to the wise.
A number of other noted musicians passed on this year. Some, like Blind Melon singer Shannon Hoon, kicked a drug habit the hard way, while others, like Mexican-American Tejano star Selena, were struck down at the height of their careers for what seemed like no reason at all. Here's a look back at some of the MIAs.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way home.
Where you going?
I want world peace and an Angora sweater. No, cashmere.
Okay, new show idea.
Extreme reindeer games.
I don't feel so good.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Kennedy?
Oh, a cheese log. Thanks.
Anybody?
Happy holidays from MTV. Gentlemen, it appears our distinguished president is cheating! Blockbuster Music! He's been buying his gifts. He got TLC's Crazy Sexy Cool on sale.